Hello, if your child is in year six, your mind might be shifting now to the transition to secondary school. Places will be allocated pretty soon. And one of the things that parents tell me often scares them about the transition to secondary school is they're often going from quite small community style primary schools into these seemingly really big, huge buildings with sometimes thousands of other children. In fact, the average secondary school is around 3 times bigger than the average primary school. So that means there's likely to be as many teachers in a secondary school as there were children in your child's primary school. Okay, so lots and lots of new people, and it can be quite scary, I think, as a parent, watching your 11-year-old fresh year 7 big uniform, that sort of thing, walking into a sea of sometimes literally thousands of other children, some 18-year-olds, in sixth form, whatever. And I understand how that feels daunting. Now, from an insider perspective, secondary schools don't really feel that way often, because they're broken down into smaller units. So what will happen is it's likely, especially at the start in year 7, your child will be based in a tutor group or form group or something like that. They all have different names, and that'll be with a group of maybe 20 to 30 children, depending on the size of the school, and one teacher. And that'll probably be the sort of hub of their experience, really, at least for the first few weeks. Some schools will stagger the start of secondary school, so they'll have year 7 in one day and the rest of the school will be empty, just to get that feeling that they're exploring the school without all of the older children around. They'll often stagger things like break times, lunch times, that sort of thing. And sometimes they even segment the building. Okay, so when they're walking into this huge building, they might have an area that is just for year 7, just for year 8, just for year 9. So in effect, the school, although it looks really big, there's a lot of people in it, it won't feel like that day to day. And the analogy I always use is like living in a big city, right? So if you live in a big city, from the outside, there's just millions of people, and how could you ever survive in that space? But actually, the reality is we break down into our local communities, our local friendship groups, that sort of thing, and that becomes really what we think of as the city, and someone else might have a completely different city, which brings into one of the other benefits of secondary schools being bigger, and that is diversity. And what I mean by that is, in a class group in primary school, you might have certain characters and certain people, and your child will be exposed to those people, right? And that'll feel quite a small, closed community. When you're in a secondary school, they're often much bigger year groups, with lots of different types of characters who all like different things. And what you tend to find as a teacher is within the first few weeks, sometimes even days really, you'll start to see groups of children gravitate towards each other, usually around shared interests. So you might have the group of children who like playing chess, and they'll spend their break times sometimes playing chess, the football, they might have netball, you might have people who like going to the library, the music rooms, the drama home. They'll spread out and they'll start to find different people who they associate with. So in a sense, again, that big school provides opportunities for those closer knit, interest-based sort of friendship groups to form. Linked to that, the other benefit of the big schools is there's just more opportunities to do things. So there'll be more sports clubs, there'll be more things like musicals and bands and art exhibitions and that sort of thing, because there's more teachers and there's more people. So you can't really have lots and lots of sports teams if you're in a small primary school and those teachers are all competing for the same children. In a secondary school, especially a big one, there's lots and lots of children and lots and lots of teachers, so you can have lots and lots of activities going on. Final point linked to that is the diversity of expertise of the staff. Okay, so obviously education is really complex, it's really human, and it's difficult to have any particular teacher be an expert in all particular facets of human development and education. Now, what you do find there in a big school, a secondary school, is you do have sort of, again, a big range of staff, and those staff all have different points of expertise. Okay, so for example, you might have a really, really great big Senko team, space, who have become particular experts in a particular learning need, which you just can't get in that smaller school setting, because you don't have that number of staff really. You'll have experts in all the different subjects, that sort of thing, so you can get a lot more expertise in a secondary school. And similarly, There's obviously more points of contact. Again, what will tend to happen is a lot of parents go via the form tutor, and that's probably the right thing to do initially. But as you get to know more staff, as your child gets more settled, there are loads of other teachers or members of staff that are with teachers who you can contact to get information about your child. And you might not have that exact one relationship with that one class teacher, but you might have lots and lots of really good relationships across the school, which can give you a great picture of how your child's doing. I've got loads more things to say about this transition, loads more tips and ideas and suggestions for you. I've set up a national network of parents whose children are moving to secondary school in September 2026. If you'd like to find out more and join us, click the link. Thanks.